Not too much to say about Kahhori. If you haven't got her up to this point, don't. She's a very mid card. There are much better 4-cost cards. Her effect, as I predicted, is probably a bit too random of what type of cards that it's going to hit on the board. And so ultimately, I just haven't seen anything from this card to change my mind. So I will not be getting this card at the last minute either. This week's Spotlight includes Infinity Ultron, Cannonball, and Pixie. Infinity Ultron is a 5-cost card that is relatively low powered. I can start to do some math, because all of the stones are 3-cost. So then it turns into like an 8 or 11 costed 20 power thing, maybe? And that's not super great if that's what we're doing. Of course, you can kind of high roll, but man, you're only getting 2 out of these 6 stones, and they are random. Presumably, you're playing this card on turn 5, which means on turn 6, you are relying on random cards, which doesn't sound great. This first stone, the Soul Stone, is a 3/3 that adds +2 power to one of the cards at each full location. So at the low end, it's just a 3/3, which stinks. And then or it could be a 3/5 or a 3/7 total power, but spread out, kind of like a mini Doctor Doom or a little bit more powerful Squirrel Girl. This, in my opinion, is the weakest stone. The second weakest stone is essentially a Polaris. Polaris is a 3/5. This is a 3/4, just because, yes, Polaris is like a 1 or a 2-cost card, but those typically are going to be lower power cards. And on turn 6, depending on your opponent, this might just do absolutely nothing. So you're just playing a 3/4 if they are filling Infinity Ultron's lane. So this sounds very hit or miss and not that great. And transitioning into the better stones, we have what is a 3/2. It doubles Infinity Ultron's power. So Infinity Ultron is a 5/6. That goes up to 12. So it's essentially +6. This is a 3/8. I threw a lot of numbers at you. So a 3/8 is Gladiator, and it's not pulling a card. So that's okay. If you play it in Ultron's lane, that's exactly what it is, just a 3/8. And so there potentially are hand buff. Maybe that's where Infinity Ultron goes in. I don't have that theory crafted, but with this stone, that's an avenue. That said, how in the world do you build around one of these stones? Because in, 33% of your games, you're just not going to get that stone. So it's tough to see him going in a hand buff deck because of that if you're relying on this one stone. The next stone is essentially Wong. Now, it's interesting, it's cheaper, but you are playing it on the last turn. So you will see in some of my decks, or most of them, there will be some amount of ramp just so you can evaluate the randomness of these cards, of what stones you have, and see if you want to play them or see if you want to completely stay away from them. This next stone adds a drone that matches Infinity Ultron's power. That leads me to go down the line of maybe Shuri. So on turn 4, you Shuri. Turn 5, you Infinity Ultron. You get this stone, and it's a 3/13 because it's adding a 12 power drone into this Infinity Ultron, or into this Reality Stone lane. Again, it is tough to build around only one of these stones generating, because you're only going to get it 33% of the games when you play Infinity Ultron, and then your deck also needs other ways to win.
Look who's a mathematician all of a sudden.
And this stone is in the running for one of the better cards. It is only a 3/1, but it does pull a card from your hand. Ideally, you are playing your low cost cards early, and then you have more of your higher power, higher costed cards that can come down. Even if it ends up being a lower costed card, getting that additional power into another lane may prove to be the deciding factor. So those are all the stones. Now let's get to the decks. This Series 2 deck, we are throwing them into Zoo. The thing with this is, with those random cards, especially with the mini Wong one, you have Rocket Raccoon to really take advantage of that because you'll be playing it on the last turn. There's no ramp in Series 2. And so Zoo just felt like the best place for him because you could either play some of the stones or pivot on the last turn. I did it. I'm throwing him into Surfer because he is a 3-cost card.
I can't even hate. That was fun.
We're discounting those cards with Quinjet. We have Magic to extend out the game. We also have Sarah, who you could potentially get down early with a wave, or you get down Infinity Ultron early with a wave. We have our other 3-cost cards, of course, in Brood, Agent Coulson, because that works with Quinjet. So we're going down 2 synergistic lines that you wouldn't normally think of, and this is just how my mind works when I deck build. So I go Infinity Ultron, Quinjet is a big boost to that and benefit. What else works with Quinjet? Agent Coulson. Well, Agent Coulson's a 3-cost card. The Infinity Ultron stones are 3-cost cards. Well, that's Silver Surfer. Rocket Raccoon is here just to benefit on the last turn if you get the whatever that mini Wong stone is, which that's what I'll call it, till the end of time. Psylocke, again, is another good ramp card if you play her on turn 3. Yes, if you play her on turn 3, on turn 4 you'll have 5 energy. You can get down Sarah or Infinity Ultron. And this deck is kind of intriguing. Enchantress is the tech card of choice, just for the current meta, but that is the biggest flex slot. And let's move on to the no limit version. So sadly, whether I get Infinity Ultron or not, I won't be able to play this deck. I do not have Valentina, I do not have Isan. So what we are doing here, again, the Quinjet, it comes to play. We have Victoria Hand, who as well benefits the stones, and Valentina. Penny Parker also generates a card if you play out the spider into its own lane that is empty. Victoria Hand will buff it. You have Hawkeye Kate Bishop, again, that works with Victoria Hand. We're going down the Wiccan path, so we have Quicksilver, and then a bunch of 2-cost cards, 3-cost cards, Luna Snow, who I just recently acquired, and Red Guardian for some good tech. Enchantress is tech as well. And on the last turn, especially if you go down the Wiccan line, you will have 8 energy. That allows you to get down Isan and one of the stones potentially. So this deck is very intriguing to me, and I'm curious to see how it would perform. Cannonball is almost exclusively a junk archetype card, so if you like junk, he is well worth having. And if you don't play with junk, then you probably should just not even care about this card. So I will have I'm working on it right now. I don't know when it'll come out, but I do have a new junk deck that has Cannonball in it that I will be posting on the channel at some point. So be on the lookout for that. Pixie is a personal favorite card of mine. I really like her effect. Now, her decks function exactly like Mr. Negative. You really need 2 cards to work, Ravonna, Psylocke, plus Mr. Negative. With Pixie, you really need Pixie and Mobius. That way, if Pixie really messes up your deck, Mobius is there to correct it. Sometimes you can get lucky and just YOLO a Pixie and it just works out because you've drawn all of your, at this point, low cost, high power cards because they've all swapped in the proper order. The way Pixie works is her text is shuffle the base cost of all cards that started there. So something like Thanos it won't work with, or the stones it won't work with specifically. And then shuffle the base cost, that means it takes all of the costs out of the cards and then it randomly assigns them back. What that means is, I like to bring Wasp in all of my Pixie decks. Wasp can get that 0 cost reattached to her because it's that random. It isn't a different cost, it's just shuffle them. So know that going in, she won't always switch the cost of the cards in your deck. But that said, I have had videos with Pixie decks, and I will again at some point because I just really like the card. So will Nerd Dynamite be unlocking Infinity Ultron with tokens and or keys? Not and. Have I been setting you up this whole video to ultimately say yes? No. I will not be getting Infinity Ultron. I was such on the fence. Well, I won't be getting it right away. I was on the fence, and after I theory crafted, I couldn't really think of any fantastic ideas with him. So ultimately, that means I probably wouldn't use the card much. Therefore, I'm just not gonna get him. If the week plays out, this is a card I might change my mind on, and the only reason I see myself changing my mind on this card is I don't think it's going to be fantastic and great and meta warping, but the fun aspect. Like, are getting these stones fun? Does it look like I can create a unique deck with my collection? Because I do actually like that theory crafted deck I made. So if somebody at some point gets Infinity Ultron and tries that deck, let me know how it does, because I just can't try it out. So we'll see what I can craft if I end up changing my mind on this card, but right now I'm skipping out on this card completely because we have a new economy change, and I want to save as many keys and tokens as I can for that and see what happens. So to recap, Infinity Ultron is being rejected by Nerd Dynamite. Yes, he is. I think that at best this card is going to be mid or decent to just flat out bad. I don't know where on that range. I really don't see him being some great card. He may be fun, and this is a game. You should have fun when you're playing games. So like I said, that's the reason why I might end up changing my mind and picking him up, but for now, he is rejected. Cannonball is approved. I like playing junk decks, and it seems like a pretty decent meta to be doing that in. I haven't seen a lot of it, so hopefully this doesn't spawn up somebody to take that idea and run with it, because I have my own deck idea for that. And Pixie gets my approved seal. That's right. Is she great? Who cares? This isn't whether a card is good or bad. This is whether Nerd Dynamite likes the card or not. So she is approved. I have a lot of fun. There it is. Fun with Pixie decks, which is why I've made a couple of deck videos on her and will do so. And yeah, I really like having fun with the card. And so if you get her, you need patience. Please be a patient player because you will go through streaks of games where her decks just do not work. And then you'll go through streaks where you're just hitting everything you need to, and it's fantastic and fun. And so thanks to all the members of the channel. Thank you to everybody that watches all of the way to the end. There are plenty of people in the comments who let me know different ideas they have. And so if you have ideas for anything, feedback on anything, let me know. I'm clearly a laid back guy. I don't take offense to anything. Just say what you need to say, and I will of course respond. But it can help in shaping what exactly this channel looks like. And like, this channel is still going on because of you all, especially you, because you're still here. So I really value people's opinion and what people think and want to see. So if you've submitted an idea, I'm sure you've heard back from me, and I've said, hey, this sounds good, I'll add it to my list. That doesn't mean I'm brushing you off. It just means I'm trying to think through how to make a somewhat entertaining video, how to hit the mark on the deck, because the deck has to be good. So there are some ideas that I'm still batting around that people have suggested. They'll happen, but give me some time. I'm not making a deck video every day yet. No, don't get your hopes up. I'm not making a deck video that often. So we'll see. But yes, I like hearing what you all think about these videos and any other ideas you have. So thanks, and until next time.